Welcome everyone to BTV. Does anyone ever get that feeling of deja vu? Andy Day here, sitting in the chapel alongside Steve Musson. How you doing?
Good afternoon, Andy. Yes, fine, ready to go again.
Yes, indeed. We're picking up, well, not quite where we left off last Saturday in the opening fixture. If you've been watching and hearing the stories, it was Beeston Richmond, and Beeston were 3-0 up against Richmond at three-quarter time before the weather got the better of us. And for safety reasons, the match was abandoned. Intervening times, Beeston have had a trip down to the capital yesterday against Hampstead and Westminster, coming away with a 2-2 draw, leading in both of those.
Yep, good results away from home.
Elsewhere, Richmond are coming off the back of a home defeat yesterday in their first home fixture ever in the Premier Division, and this is the way the table looks. So if we can look at it for a second, I know it's looking very, very light in terms of numbers, because I think that's a week old, that bit of information. I'm sure that was live.
Yes.
It is now not live.
That's right.
We'll go and slap the graphics department on that one, but what we have got is a fascinating game in front of us. Let's have a quick look at our today's visitors, Richmond. They're making the trip back here for the second time in a week. Couple of changes for them.
Yeah,
because of course they played yesterday, same as Beeston.
Yes, that's right. I've noticed that they've got Max Evans in there. I don't think he was in yesterday, and Cam Heald. Typical, really. I mean, you get two games back to back, and you can pick up injuries. Same thing's happened from Beeston's perspective as well, with Ollie Ashdown being out today, and the new bright talent that we're seeing here at Beeston, Zavax Cordero, who played for Beeston's second team yesterday.
Indeed, I'm sure we'll pick up more in due course about that. But you just to suffice to say, you were very excited about him as a player.
Watched him yesterday, very impressive. Yes.
So 2 games in a weekend for him. Time to flash up the Beeston team, as the teams are still completing their warm-ups. Just a handful of changes from both last week and yesterday here.
Yes, again, as I say, Ollie Ashdown, I think 2 games in a weekend for him. He won't mind me saying he's creaks a bit, and I think he's decided to step out for today. But interestingly, Robbie Gleeson, who did play yesterday, is back into the team. Has a big effect for Beeston, playing in sort of midfield or back 4 roles, and the club will be pleased to see him back playing today.
And we played it last week. We have slightly amended the video, so let's have a quick look at today's visitors making the trip up from southwest London. We'll do that in a bit. We are moving our information around as we go along, because we're anticipating 1 or 2 things. There we go. Live on the screen is Richmond Hockey Club in relation to us here in Nottinghamshire. There's the red Richmond pin in London, and in a couple of seconds we'll zoom in and we'll see, as mentioned, the second visit to Beeston in 8 days. Very familiar to this ground. They had 2 promotions in a row, East Conference to Division 1 South, and then back-to-back promotions to reach the Premier Division. 150 years as a club this year. They were celebrated at the Twickenham Stadium earlier this month, making them one of the very oldest hockey club teams, alongside Teddington there.
Yeah, that's right, yes.
And Quincy Hall Memorial Ground is where they played their home games, where they played against Surbiton yesterday.
Yes, yeah.
Noting the goals that were conceded yesterday, it was an 8-0 defeat for Richmond yesterday.
Yeah, that's right.
But Surbiton managed to put in, let's count them, 1, 2,
4 penalty corners, I think it
4
was,
penalty
Andy,
corners.
and a penalty stroke as well. So set piece stuff in abundance for Surbiton yesterday. Very tough from Richmond's point of view. Always round, a new side to the Premier League to come up against Surbiton, coached now by Barry Middleton, looking very strong this year. And then having to make the trip back to Nottingham again today after the events of last weekend.
Talking about the events of last weekend, our very witty PA team have put together a little playlist of music, and the teams are walking out, led by Andy Higgins and David Munger, your match umpires, to the sounds of Thunderstruck. Beeston in the black and gold. Richmond, as they were, I reckon, a week ago, in all white once again.
Yep, the same colour scheme. It must be quite a tough thing for Richmond to do, really, because I think that there was uncertainty through the week, Andy, as well, about whether it would be today. Certainly from our point of view, getting prepped and everything else, we weren't sure.
No, I think it was Thursday. I think it was the confirmation of the game. So it was short notice for pretty much everybody.
Yeah, that's right. And I think Richmond ideally would have had a couple of weeks between. But of course, I would imagine from the Premier League perspective, it's good to catch up as quick as possible, which is probably what the thinking was.
Indeed. And from Beeston's point of view, they want to continue their pretty good start. I don't want to labour the point, but Beeston were 3-0 up and looking good for the 3 points 8 days ago. Yeah. Richmond are yet to score a goal in either of the two, 1 3/4 matches that they've played in so far.
Yes.
Of course, that first one got completely scrubbed, but...
Yeah, and I think from Beeston's point of view, they felt that having seen away that early challenge of Richmond last weekend and got to that final quarter almost with a 3-0 lead, that they might have been able to add to that, and that would have been a heck of a start for them for the first match of the season. So they're going to have to be careful today, because sometimes, and I've seen these before, these can be a bit of a kickback. So there shouldn't be any complacency in Beeston at all today.
And I was speaking about this off air, and I think I may have mentioned it on air last week. Richmond looked solid.
They did
in that first half, at the very least, and may have stumbled a bit towards the end of the third quarter, but certainly in that first half they were a difficult nut to crack.
Well, we thought their build-up play was pretty good. I think if anything was missing, it was the number of times they actually took a risk and put the ball into the D, and I think that might be something we see differently from them today.
So we got the focus on Beeston's squad, looking at Toby Stanley checking in with his teammates, helpful taps on the back, good team ethic, good team spirit. Let's focus down the other end of the field. Richmond seem good to go as well. So for clarity, we're not just replaying 1 quarter of the game, it's the whole match.
Yeah,
so this is your final opportunity to get your drinks wherever you are watching in the world and settle in for 70 minutes of Premier Division hockey from Nottinghamshire. It's BTV, Beeston versus Richmond, the redo. AC/DC continue to dominate. Yeah, we're waiting for the signal to go. Umpire David Munger on the far side checks his watches. Andy Higgins also does the same, arm aloft, and the opening whistle sounds right now. It is Richmond in the all-white, playing from right to left, attacking the car park end in the first half. In possession, we saw last week that they didn't give possession up for a long time.
They didn't. That first 10 minutes, we did talk about it. It was noticeable how much possession Richmond had. There was a lot of patience from Beeston and not too much pressing in that first 10 minutes or so. It was later that we saw Beeston get into action a bit.
It's rare that you get to play the same side so quickly between games. So I wonder if there's been much in the way of a review of the footage from last week, or what lessons would you learn? What could you do differently? Or if you were 3-0 up, would you just play the same way?
Well, I think I've noticed already that there's a lot more height in the Beeston team shape already. We didn't see this last weekend, so it looks like they've decided not to be exactly the same as they were, having had the opportunity to see how Richmond play. So that's certainly, I think, what we'll see as a change for Beeston.
Now, I must stop you there for a second. Height, that may be a term that not everybody's familiar with. Could you describe it for
the distance between your own D, defensive zone, and the opposition. So there's many more players at the moment, as you can see, in Richmond's half. So last week we saw this happen. For the first 5 or 10 minutes, most of the Beeston team were in their own half.
That's something to look out for indeed. Richmond pressed back and Beeston pressing. This is what we didn't see early on, and there's an attempted steal, and Griffiths, the captain, does well for that and continues his run towards the baseline, fires the ball into the circle. Goalkeeper comes off and he hooks it away, and what do we get? It's a free hit for Richmond. Very promising start. Yeah,
completely different start for Beeston than we saw last week, and so Richmond will have to adapt to that quickly. Best way to do that is to maintain possession for as long as they did, which they did last weekend pretty well, but they're doing it in different areas of the pitch this week. Burns. 3 players instantly there, Andy, straight round the receiver.
I think Beeston's game plan is they're happy to let Richmond, that one creeps out of play, waiting for the outcome of that one before speaking. Long corner though. noticing that Beeston are happy for Richmond to have possession up to halfway, and as soon as they cross halfway, in they go.
Yeah.
Into the circle for the first time go Richmond, and that's a free hit for Beeston to clear.
This is something I think Beeston did very well last week. Talked about it a little bit during the week. The way in which they protect their feet and tackle low in the D, so they're not at risk of giving away a penalty corner. And I thought they were excellent at it, and they've started off with Richmond's first attack, and they've done very well again.
Just watching Alistair Richmond, just making it clear that's Alistair Richmond, number 5. We need to be clear about which one is Richmond.
Of course.
Just using his body to nudge his opposite number out of the way. Free hit for the Bees in towards the top of the circle. Nice take from Croft. Croft plays it into the circle. First stick to it is a Richmond defensive one. And the pressure, look at that.
Yeah, you can see 4 or 5 players in that part of the pitch. Almost like a little training game going on there at the moment, but Richmond doing well, maintaining that possession, just steady outlet through lots of little bits of interplay and passing, and very good to the open side.
That was impressive. Beeston had that side of the field smothered, but Richmond have escaped and very quickly gone down the other end of the field looking to get the ball in the circle. Umpire signal. It's a Richmond ball.
Yes, yeah. So Richmond have adapted very quickly to the changed start from Beeston, and I think you can see through this possession, which again, as I mentioned, we saw last weekend, it's actually allowed them to see off that initial spell. 3 or 4 minutes in, and they've controlled it well.
Just watching Wall and his considered ball forward, that was he waited for the right moment to play it in, and Beeston play it quickly, and Richmond have got a few players out of position at the moment. Flick ball forward, and that's a nice takedown for Fletcher. Fletcher, can he get a shot away here? It's going to be a Richmond ball. Fletcher fouled as well.
Yeah, just mishit that. Good counter-attack. I mean, the speed of that from Beeston's defensive line to the Richmond defence was quick. So again, another intention to use the counter-attack as a method to catch Richmond out.
Just see how this plays along. We do have a little bit of an update to give you on yesterday's game. There were 2 yellow cards shown to the same player within a couple of seconds of each other for continuing to chat, but we'll give you more detail on that. It's a very rare occurrence.
Yeah.
We did notice, we thought it might have been a green. The sun was in the way a tiny bit, but it was a yellow, followed immediately by another yellow. And Beeston couldn't take advantage of that while they were down to 10-14. But this is the game we're focusing on now. Captain Gareth Griffiths whips the ball back at pace.
And that was a big crossfield restart that's actually gone straight through the Richmond press to get to the right-hand side, and Ali Richmond just working his way up this right-hand side. A bit of a steadier flow to the passing and moving now by Beeston. So nothing came from that first 5 minutes. They just changed their tactics slightly.
There's a good ball in towards the edge of the
mistrap from George Fletcher.
Nice idea though, but then quickly down the other end.
It is interesting how if a forward mistraps the ball, how quickly it can be back into your own D. And so it's extremely important when that ball is finding the forwards that it stays with them for a while so everybody can set up behind.
Max Evans running into, I think that was Joe Paul earlier on, and that player coming the better, getting the ball at the end of that bit of play. Ming decides to go long.
Straight off the back, yeah.
Touch of the ball, possibly for Simon Husband. He didn't touch the ball. I think he had one touch.
He did, yeah, that was about it, wasn't it, I think. Well, it's competitive at the moment and fairly even. Beeston have had a good counter-attack, and it's clear that's how they're going to try to play. There's another one in the build now.
Sam Norwood made important touch on that, otherwise that was straight through to the top of the circle again.
Yeah, so far they've mopped up the Beeston attacks well.
I know we say this every week, but good to see the crowds here. And that's just a handful of the crowd. It's always busy on the balcony, which is the best vantage point to see the game. It's higher than in the spectator gallery. Off we go to Scott Wall, the captain of Richmond. Again takes his time, plays the ball at a nice pace forward. The trap is good, and a little bit of blocking off. And
Yes.
Richmond get the ball on the 23-metre line.
Nice little feed of the ball forward to the Richmond player in front of the Beeston defender, and it's given him some space.
There's
and
an
a
appeal.
penalty corner.
Yep, there it is. First penalty corner of the game goes the way of the visitors. And once again, Wall involved. He seems to be the playmaker in the middle of the field for Richmond.
Very neat little phase of play there for Richmond. They built that up in a very simple but methodical way. And of course this here, the little feed into the D and a deflection. Quite a clever way to win a corner, but it's the first time that the Beeston have missed a trap against Richmond that we've seen, because they did it so well last week.
Sam Norwood is the player going to inject. Time is off, and Beeston just taking their time to get their protective gear on, which is why we've got the clock stopped. It's
I don't recall seeing a penalty corner for Richmond last time.
well, we do have the stats in front of us. I've still got the information. They did have 2 in the third quarter,
right,
according to my handwritten notes from 8 days ago, which are still here, but never tidy up in a jumble.
I think that was the quarter we were most scared of the Lightning, wasn't it? And they sat in here.
No more Lightning today. But can Richmond strike early?
Greg Nolan on the trap there, so looks well rehearsed.
And that is
There
the
it
opening
is.
goal, and it is the captain who has scored it. Scott Wall, nice and easy, low and hard, and
Yeah.
into the back of the goal.
Yeah, straight, simple, really. Good injection, speed, good trap, and very powerful at the goal. So all of a sudden, the dynamics of this fixture have changed from last time.
And also that's the first ever goal in the top flight for Richmond, so a moment of celebration for the entire club.
Yeah, straight, literally straight down the middle, but powerful enough to have beaten Simon Hudgman in goal.
So Richmond are leading by 1-0. That goal coming in the, I make that the 9th minute.
It
but
is.
we'll,
So already, the fact that Richmond have scored changes the way in which the game will flow, because obviously it's Beeston's task now to get back on level terms as quick as possible without panicking. But it's different to how it was last week, so
yeah,
different sort of a fixture already.
not that I don't think complacency was a problem, but if there was any lingering complacency, that's gone.
Yes.
So Stanley. Richmond pressing, and
Yes,
I must
they
say
are.
that penalty corner came from Wall's own work, so it's probably only fair that he was the rightful goal scorer.
So again, stepped in really nicely there. The long pass, attempted pass to find Henry Croft in the D, and it's been picked off again, giving Richmond another attack. Slight overload.
Meakin plays it into the circle, and the umpire points, and it's a very good spell in the game for
It
the
is.
visitors.
Well, again, the attempt to counter-attack from Beeston and a turnover, and it's put Richmond back in their own, in Beeston's defensive 23. So, bit of a fluffed hit in there from Scott Wall.
Very prominent in this opening couple of minutes. Don't forget, for all 2 balls on the pitch, we'll have to pause for a moment or two. We have 4 quarters of 17.5 minutes. We're 10 minutes into the game. Beeston going long, and the aerial taken down by Wall, who again is featuring very heavily for Richmond. He can't be everywhere.
No, I was going to say, he has been so far. He's been on the forward line, taking corners and back in defence.
Into the air we go, and that one's taken down in the air by Sam Anderson. And has he got the ball? I think he has.
Yeah.
It will be a Richmond ball. Wall
Good
plays-
position. That's
Whipped
Yes,
into
well
the
done.
circle, and Beeston under a bit of pressure here. Can they find a route out, or will it be a foot? I think it might be a foot.
Yeah, I think that was Max Evans on the baseline for Richmond, and quality pass into him gave him an opportunity to put that ball into the D, and thankfully Beeston managed to tidy that up nicely. Good attention to detail from Richmond, just looking at their defence. Everybody switched on and focused, just watching the runners and the movement.
We are yet to see unless I've been mistaken, and you can correct me on this, we haven't seen Savax Cordero.
We haven't yet.
Make his,
No, that's right. Or is that him over on the far side? I think he is on the pitch now, and he's just...
Okay, we'll keep an eye open for him. You say he's come from, was it Loughborough Students?
He was at, yes, he did. He was there. I think he was there for a year before he decided he wanted to move on and try to play Premier League hockey, from what I've been told. And I think he was at Repton School before that.
Don't want to alarm anybody, but I've just seen something fall off the chapel on the camera. But
we don't have any more disasters in here at the minute, so... Good pressure again, a good build-up attack. Oh, and lucky they didn't connect there because there was a lot of space on this left-hand side. The pass across was slightly misdirected, gives Beeston possession again. Just seen Jack Stamp on the forward line for Beeston now. Busy and high-quality youngster come through the system here.
tapped off the sideline.
I think what Richmond have done well here is they've upset that early rhythm, and certainly last week's rhythm that Beeston had. So getting the composure again back into the unit for Beeston is key.
We've not seen an awful lot of Henry Croft in the game so far, so has that been, he may have not been on the field for all the time of the game, but for the time he's been on, we've not really seen it.
Well, the one thing that we'll have had a chance to have a look at is how Beeston were using him as a target man last week, so they'll be making sure that that's covered.
Loy is number 25 at the moment. He's making his way over to the ball.
Yeah, so we've seen the deep defence again that Beeston employed last week, just kicking in a bit while they gain their composure and get settled.
Going a long way around.
Yeah,
twist and the turn, and there's a ball into the circle, I'm sure. That is fired high and then turn behind, and the danger is the call from the umpire.
Very tough to hit that flat across from that kind of a position, the ball running away towards the sideline. The reach and the hit is difficult to execute under those circumstances. Beeston not panicking in the back four at all, just feeding that ball around, finding a bit of space on the left-hand side.
There is some space, and here is Cordero, who rides one challenge and makes his way over the 23-metre line. There's a little shovel ball forward, trying to find Jack Stamp, who was there to receive it, and just couldn't reach it with the end of his stick, and it rolls over the baseline for a Richmond defensive hit. Yeah,
good little attacking run from Savax Cordero down that left-hand inside left channel. Not quite making the connection with Jack Stamp in the D. Beeston just dropping off again a little bit, giving Richmond time to build.
We can see Nolan is going to be the recipient eventually, but he's moved into a crowded area of the field, and I think a little rushed ball forward for Richmond, and Beeston can take possession back, but the pressure is good, but that's neat.
It is very good, very good.
Griffiths gets on his bike, takes the ball towards halfway, little shovel backwards.
Nice play, good interplay this.
And a nice diagonal aerial ball flicked up, and that's taken down by Collinson. Collinson looks to go direct into the circle, and that comes off, I think, the goalkeeper.
Yeah, he did, yeah. I think that was slightly ahead of the highest forward, which was Henry Croft, straight onto the keeper's kickers, and he's booted it out. Oh, it hit the post, right.
I was wondering why the goalkeeper would have fielded that rather than let it go.
That's right. So it didn't make the usual post noise.
Occasionally, we look through the window, occasionally we look at the screen. That was one of the occasions where we were looking at the screen.
Again, Beeston having to be careful, just making sure that they control this ball, because there is a lot more pressure from Richmond than we saw last time. Not giving Beeston much time on the ball.
Half-field ball down. That one was for George Fletcher, and he let it just bounce and
yeah, he missed. I think he tried to trap it and missed it. So again, same little thing we mentioned a few minutes ago. Really, that ball fed forward, you cannot afford to mistrap it, because it's
nice turnover though. Sorry to cut in. There's a chance here into the circle. Oops. Player held up, and it's a free hit and taken quickly into the circle. They go. So many Richmond defenders. That's such a close thing, and the chance has
Yeah,
disappeared.
I think the slip went to Will Prentice, and I think it just bounced over his stick before he was able to direct it towards the goal. So I think Richmond have got away with that one. Good attack.
Best opportunity so far for the hosts with a minute to go to quarter time.
Choosing just to keep that ball, that possession for a little bit longer.
There's probably one more opportunity on goal before the end of the quarter. Can Beeston fashion something in the time that's remaining? Of course, our on-screen clock may not be exactly the same as the match clock. It's the best. And that's a chance. Can the ball go into the circle quickly? Time's ticking away.
Done it again. Richmond done it again. Yeah.
Take it away. There's a tangle of sticks, and that will probably see the quarter out.
Yeah, you do like to think that players are aware of where they are in time terms, and I think it would have been, that was a perfect opportunity to try to get that ball into the D just to create something, but they ran out of time at the end of the quarter.
So, on the screen, the detail, the all-important first goal in the Premier Division for Richmond, scored in the 9th minute, a penalty corner by Scott Wall, who hit it firm, true, low and hard, and hit the backboard.
He did, yeah, got it on target, and everything about the injection and trap was good. So off the mark for Richmond, and of course makes the match different for Beeston.
So we will pause here for a few moments. It's been an entertaining first 17 and a half minutes as the Ball Patrol make their way out for a little bit of a play on the field. This is BTV. We've got a game on our hands. It's Beeston 0, Richmond 1 at quarter time. Yes, go. Welcome back to BTV. We are refreshed and ready to go for the second quarter of this Premier Division match. This is the only show in town today in the Premier Division, with everyone playing yesterday in the women's and men's competition. So we're glad to have you on board this Sunday afternoon. One goal, if you're just joining us. Scott Wall scored the opening goal in the 9th minute from a penalty corner. And it is Richmond who get the second quarter underway again.
Yeah, a bit to think about for Beeston now, because they're not facing the same type of game that Richmond brought last week, and they're having to deal with this higher press from the Richmond forwards, and some very good defensive work as well. So again, you see Richmond straight into the heart of Beeston's defensive area, working hard for possession. So, I mean, when you're only 2 quarters into the start of the second quarter, it's important that you keep your patterns and your composure and everything else. But Beeston will be keen to get something out of this in this quarter in terms of getting on level terms, because they didn't have that many attacks in the first quarter.
No, I think that's down to Richmond.
It is, definitely down to Richmond, yeah.
The pace is the thing, and ball towards Henry Croft, who we think has had a quiet half, but again it's because he's been quietened.
Yes, he has been quietened, and I think another little feature there, that's the 5th time a ball fed forward has not been trapped by the forward. So again, the bit in the timing is off, but they're having to contend with Richmond tackling quickly and closing them down as well. So Looks like there's been a bit of homework done by the Richmond coaching staff during the week.
There's a diagonal ball on here. So I think it's been cut off out of camera. And the run, though, is Alec Macon has made the space. And here is the diagonal ball on the second attempt. And now Beeston bring it over halfway. Looking at the Will Prentice making a run towards the edge of the circle. And that's been picked up on.
It's too easy. That's too easily trapped. And, of course, it creates a very quick opportunity for a counter-attack, which we're seeing. Not executed that well by Richmond. It's interesting, I mean, Richmond's intent to have the ball for longer, make more passes before they get a turnover, actually takes possession away from Beeston, and again, that's something they must be looking to do. Stringing 6, 7, 8, 9 passes together before they get anywhere near contact.
Crisp ball forward.
And again, another one, another missed forward pass.
Owen Barnes is dispossessed, off to Griffiths. Griffiths, again, there's a diagonal briefly on. Pressure now starting to build down the right-hand side. Richmond alerts to this. Is that a foot? I think it is.
I think that's right, yeah. The whole Richmond team back defending the D, and they got there quickly as well, so good work rate.
Going back to come forward, go the Bees. Don't forget yesterday, both teams played. Richmond conceded 8 at home against Surbiton. Beeston with a very creditable 2-2 draw at Hampstead and Westminster, and it could have been more than 1 point as well, as the Bees led twice in that game and pegged back right at the very end of the game.
Yeah, another turnover. I think there's a bit of a feature really that is creeping into the Beeston game, which they need to stop pretty quickly, because it's giving too much possession back to Richmond when they're trying to set up an attacking move. Greg Nolan feeding that ball around, dealing with the press that was on him, the two hunting players. He dealt with that very well. He's given him another missed opportunity for a cross.
Danger again.
That was a better body shape, but nevertheless the execution of the cross wasn't very good. So
that was an unhelpful pass.
Yes.
On 2 occasions.
Yeah, I think one of the things that I did think that they would do would be look to pepper the D a bit more often than they did last week.
For a second it looked like Beeston were clear with a run towards the 23-metre line, but the turnover via the umpire's whistle happens, and there's a crossfield ball underneath it.
As Ali Richmond was there, so Beeston restart.
There's a slip there in midfield, but no harm done.
So I think the thing we have to watch for is how well Beeston can connect going forward, particularly when they release the ball to the high forwards, whether or not they can trap it and keep it there. Again, Richmond mopped that one up nicely as well. Good retreat work from
Fletcher it was.
George Fletcher in there.
Dylan Nimhon. There's an aerial ball to the left-hand side of the circle, taken down by Griffiths, taken down well. Just lingering for a moment. Is that a foot?
I think that
yes,
is a
it
foot,
is.
Yes. Well, deliberate intent there to win something. A nice little accurate aerial pass. Obviously, Gareth Griffiths was in a good position in the D, so it was his honour to receive it, so he couldn't be closed down by the defender. And then he just found a foot. There you go.
Yep. And what's worth watching here is, rather than smashing the ball in, it was waiting for the right moment to put the ball into the circle.
Yep.
That's the sign of a good player.
That composure in the D, even though it's a tight area, you don't need to over-rush things.
First penalty corner of the game for Beeston. They were very, very successful this time last week, or 8 days ago, with 2 from 2, if memory serves me correctly. So we'll see how William Burns deals with this, because I'll be charitable, he didn't have a successful day in goal, and this time that's been nudged wide. I think the runner's done a good job there.
Yeah, I think he has, yeah. Yeah, very quick out. The number one runner, didn't see who that was, but excellent job. There we go.
That's low ball in, tucked away.
Deflected off the back of the pitch. Yeah, Beeston look to Jamie Rawlins quite often in situations like this. If they can win a corner, he can get them and has got them back into games. And then they can get back into the usual patterns. But they're finding it a bit difficult to string too many attacks together at the moment.
Griffiths goes in, knocks the ball out of play on the 23-metre line. It will be a restart for Richmond. They go short, and Imre Gerrits,
good skills.
To go the long way round.
He's got a restart on the right-hand side. Good position.
Just watching the run on the overlap. I think that's Norwood who's twisting and turning and finding a way in the circle. Beeston have done well not to give away a cheap penalty corner. There's so much risk of finding a foot when the ball's in so close to you.
And that was one of the strengths for Beeston last week. But the fight factor in Richmond is far higher than it was. Again, we look at that little shot there, and there's 5-6 Richmond players anywhere near the ball carrier. And they drop back to shape very quickly. They're looking to get away with that. From a restart, playing the ball into a midfield player I think is very risky indeed.
It's a bit of a Richmond sandwich.
Yes.
But I think that wasn't the best choice.
There's nothing to do. The only option you've got is to pass it back to the fella that gave it you in the first place. And if you get anything wrong in that motion, you will have lost possession.
Watching Richmond in possession on the 23-metre line. Beeston happy for them to have it there, but now the pressure starts to come as they creep towards halfway, and that creates a little bit of space on the left-hand side. Cleaver with a ball forward, gathered at the second attempt by Collinson. Collinson finds a stick and will restart. In fact, he's considering leaving it. In fact, no, that is a restart.
Yeah. Nice and easy transfer. A lot of space with Richmond having dropped off a bit, but here they come again, just putting that extra press in. But that's another situation where a quality pass to a player in a good position has been missed. And I'm not quite sure why that's happening, because that didn't happen last week at all. Concentration, focus, tiredness, I don't know. Whatever it is, they need to sort that out.
Certainly Richmond are looking the better of the two sides at the early stages in this game. Still plenty of hockey still to come, and I think you mentioned tiredness. If there's a tiredness factor, Richmond, I think, aren't showing it yet.
No, they're not.
We may see a sudden decrease as we get closer into the game. That may not happen at all, but we will see in due course.
I mean, hockey players are usually capable of playing two games back to back, but it's tiredness is not always physical, sometimes a bit mental as well, and I think we're seeing a little bit of that, particularly with those forward missed traps.
Alistair Richmond and Greg Nolan bouncing off each other, and there may have been a bit of language you heard at home, so apologies for that if you've heard anything inappropriate.
Richmond again there, and getting first to the ball at the moment on a number of occasions.
Dylan goes low, has been bypassed, and that's a good challenge in from Toby Stanley.
Delaying tackle rather than a ball-winning tackle. It's important to get on top of the 50-50s as quick as you can in matches like this. Space again on the left-hand side.
Nice little turn from Cleaver, which allowed the ball to go back. That's Wall, again, the captain, who's had a very prominent game today.
He has.
Fired in towards the top of the circle, and finally a Beeston stick makes a tackle, and Toby Stanley comes away with the ball. He's creeping towards halfway and has the ball stripped from him.
Yeah, he's looking to get that back. Beeston needs to be very careful here. You can see the Richmond players progressing up the pitch quickly. Two fellas there on the ball carrying again in the D.
Colossal amount of pressure from Richmond, but this, you were saying about tiredness, and we were talking about tiredness a few minutes ago. You cannot maintain this level of intensity in theory.
No. Of course, with hockey having the rolling subs, you try to get that maintain that level of intensity all the time. You expect the subs going on to be playing at least at the same level straight away as the guy coming off. But nevertheless, you don't know how 2 games in a weekend in close succession, bearing in mind they played at 6 o'clock last night, is going to affect you.
Little slip from Cleaver, but stays on his feet. It's on towards the baseline, pumped in towards the circle and turned behind from Alistair Richmond, who holds his hands up in apology.
I think you would have to say that the possession stats have turned in Richmond's favour so far.
There's a player down on the 23-metre line. We'll come back to that in a second. There's a flick ball up.
Yeah, good, powerful hit into the D. Again, I'm impressed at how Beeston have managed to keep that off their feet. I think the thing that's missing is the number of attacks that Beeston are creating, because they've been few and far between so far. I would imagine there's probably only been 6 or 7 D entries from Beeston so far.
Someone will be keeping stats somewhere.
Yeah.
I must say, how would you change the attacks, or what sort of attacks would you be trying? Would you be looking at pace, or would you be looking at build-up, or something else?
I think it has to be build-up, but they're equally on that score. They've had to just have a look at this attack from Richmond.
We've got the final touch on that.
Beeston have had plenty of opportunities to make connections and keep that ball in the Richmond danger area, but they've not managed to keep hold of it.
Half an hour gone on BTV. It's the hosts who are a goal down against the visitors.
It's a difficult phase of the game from Beeston's point of view, because they won't want to concede another goal.
Chance here, and that's an appeal penalty corner. And look at that,
I know.
real celebration.
This was my worry, really, with them spending so much time in Beeston's 23-metre area feeding that D, that again there was the risk of a penalty corner, and that certainly paid off. So
I think it's Max Evans. If you watch the replay in the middle, the celebration is really pumped up.
It is Max Evans, yeah. Yeah, there's a fire about them at the minute, and this is what I think people are a bit fearful of, really. You get an abandoned game at 3-0
hang on a second. Is this a penalty corner or not? No, I don't think it is.
Turned it round, yeah.
So
they've had a chat and
scrubbed that one off from the history books. We have a bully, and it was. Is that it, or was it?
That was in the wrong position. There we go.
Well, that was the least competitive bully I think I've ever seen.
Yes.
That's one for the 1001 Bullies VHS cassette you can get from BTV this Christmas.
Well, that aerial's thrown very close to the Richmond defenders. I'm a little bit surprised that that's gone Beeston's way, but now this is better position for them.
And that's an appeal and long corner. There was a stick-to-stick, and there was a possibility of a foot there. And Beeston still wants it. You can see Joe Paul. He is keen to get that ball rolling again. There's space towards the top of the circle. It's straight onto a Richmond stick again.
Yeah, very direct onto the stick. So yeah, lots of missed traps and deflections today, more than I would expect to see.
How would you approach your half-time team talk, given these 2 options? Fire or finesse? What do you say?
Well, I think definitely the finesse has got to apply, because they need to get their basics better, and they won't be able to string the best types of build-up attacks together until they've sorted that out. So that's going to be the first focus. I think they're sort of Beeston trying to do the right things, but not stringing it all together in a successful way.
I think Henry Croft was trying to put a bit too much power into that and ended up slipping, and I'm sure we'll see more of him as the game progresses over the second half. And there's a sliding opportunity, and there's a long corner. No, it isn't. Danger.
Yeah, just off the back line. But again, you see the intent there from Richmond to get onto that ball. Can't fault their work rates and their concentration.
2 balls on the field briefly, but we will allow play to continue. There's about 2 minutes left until half time, and there's a chance towards the end of the circle. And good holding up by Matthew Ming. I'm not sure how legal some of that was. The ball's into the circle, walloped towards goal, and Burns gets a strong touch on that.
Yeah, good goalkeeper position there. Ball still in the D.
Huge appeal from Croft. He feels he was
convinced that was a corner, but
best moment of the half for Beeston by some distance. The shot that Burns fielded in towards the top of the circle, turned towards goal, wide of the upright by a fair old distance.
Difficult to deflect that because there's just not enough pace on the ball into the D, so the likelihood is it's not going to travel very quickly, even if you deflect it on target, so need a bit more venom in the pass.
Needless to say, this is better from the hosts. Where has this come from? What's changed to make this suddenly come to life before the end of the half?
Well, sometimes you can find that teams click, they go through bad patches, and then all of a sudden it can start to come together.
And the whistle blows with what we can see a minute left on the clock, so not sure about how that's came about, but we'll take it.
Henry Croft still protesting that he believed there was a penalty corner there.
The end of the half then, and it is Beeston 0, Richmond 1. Scott Wall, the captain, with a penalty corner, what seems quite a long time ago away now.
Yes,
Ninth minute opening goal. And once again, regardless of whichever club you're supporting, congratulations on Richmond scoring their first ever Premier Division goal. We'll have, I think, around 7 minutes. We'll be back soon for second half coverage from the Premier Division here in Nottinghamshire. We do have a couple of words to say as well. Many thanks to our sponsors. With wait less time, you can easily compare waiting times, patient satisfaction rates and inspection reports of both NHS and private clinics in your area. Say goodbye to long wait times and say hello to faster, more efficient healthcare with wait less time. Check it out online now, the app available from the 15th of October. So do check out Wait Less Time. This is BTV. We'll be breaking into half time now. We'll be back in about 7 minutes time. See you then. Teams are making their way back out onto the field of play. We have corrected the league table. This is the way that the table stands this morning before play. We've got two teams leading the way with a substantial goal difference. Holcombe in third place, also with a 100% record. Then you've got a couple of teams with a win and a draw and a win and a loss. Hampstead and Westminster picking up that draw yesterday against Beeston, and Richmond starting the day towards the bottom of the table. I make it that they were 10th at the start of the day. But this could be the fillip they need in the Premier Division. Beeston in black and gold, this time playing from right to left in the second half as we get the second half underway. What single word do you think was the message for Beeston at half-time, Ross?
Well, I would have said trap, because they need to stop the ball more often and not keep giving it away. And I think that's something they must have talked about, that, because the positional stuff was quite good and the build-up play. Here we go.
Chance early on, and that one very high, but he did take a touch on the way through.
It did. That's a long corner. Ball. That was Gareth Griffiths. It's a little bit away from his body when he tried to hit that. So, but as you say, it took a deflection. This is this higher pitch work that I don't think happened in the first half, transferring the ball around much higher up the pitch. But unfortunately, they've turned that over. Richmond back in control of the ball. That's
Anderson, the ball in very neatly left.
It was.
Good work from Joe Waterston. Sometimes you can make a pass happen by not being involved.
Yes.
And he did very well there to shield the ball. And
yeah, good work. Good work.
I think there's an appeal for, I think, a foot, but it's
fallen to Gareth Griffiths in.
We're yet to see a card in the game, by the way. Just, I know people like to see the odd card. We've yet to see one. A penalty corner apiece in the game so far also, Stats fans.
Where's that gone? That's been picked up nicely and fed in.
Croft batters it into the back of the net, and we are all level, and that celebration that we saw 8 days ago, we saw it again. Croft on target.
I think one of the key strengths that Henry Croft has is that he doesn't let the game situation bug him too much. He's always expecting more opportunities, and when he gets them like that, crikey, that was a finish. That's unstoppable. The power and the accuracy of his shooting is amazing to watch, and it's enjoyable to see somebody playing as an out-and-out forward like that.
So we are back on level terms, and that is just the start that you would want.
It is.
And all of that stemming from an interception 3/4 of the way down the field.
Yes, yeah, funny little phase of play, wasn't it? And it went to Beeston's advantage. And Will Prentice's slip of the ball into Henry Croft in the D was excellent, because it was under his arm and quick. There's another attacker towards the D.
And Beeston tails up here. And things start to click, don't they? The things that didn't click suddenly do when you get the goal back.
Well, they were actually connecting the passes together.
High in towards the circle, but that one's too high. Just be wary, that's where my car's parked, so we don't want too much height.
I think when you've got a player leading out of the D, as Will Prentice was, and being able to slide that ball under his arm to Henry Croft in the D, that gave him the advantage and the space and the time for the shot. So Richmond player lurking dangerously behind. I think that was Jamie Rawlins on the ball. Just it's a good job he kept on. That's a lovely little outlet and deflection into Robbie Gleeson. Fast counter-attack here, space, and again quickly fed.
Just things starting to click for Beeston, and there's a big appeal again from Croft here. Did he feel that foot was outside or inside the circle? I think he may be appealing for a penalty corner. One will not come, though.
He's not shy in his appeals, is Henry.
2 goals in 2 days, Henry Croft as well. Open play goal yesterday, 3 minutes from time against Amsterdam Westminster. 13 minutes.
That's fed in. That's close to the. Going to struggle from there.
Too many cooks, I think.
Yeah.
And that's what the inquest is, but it's a much, much better and brighter start to the second half from the Bees.
Dropping away for the long corner restart there, very nicely done. much higher up the pitch now with these this passing, and it's going stick to stick. A little dodgy trap there. Again, quite easy space. Good connections, very good connections. This is what was missing in the first half.
Into the circle on the right-hand side again. Croft, could this be two? He gets the ball taken off the toe of his stick, and Richmond will clear. And Beeston turn it over quickly in towards the edge of the circle again. Will Prentice was there's a big cheer from somewhere. I'm not sure where that was. What was for Will Prentice's bit of skill there, or something else has occurred.
Well, Richmond being made to work very hard defensively now, and another ball fed into the D, trapped very well. Taken off.
Well done to bring it over the sideline from Richmond.
Yeah, and they've won the sideline hit as well. Restart. So, oops, that's
somehow fallen positively for Richmond in possession. Imre Gerrits.
Yeah, they need to take the pressure off by holding a bit of possession here, and they've done that very well on the left-hand side.
40 minutes gone on BTV. We're all square in the only Sunday fixture in the Premier Division. Beeston 1, Richmond 1. Richmond scoring first in the 9th minute from Scott Wall. In 37th minute, blast from Henry Croft, the equaliser.
Got plenty of time in the game, but that applies for both teams really. So quality of your performance and your work rate and shape and everything else will all come into play now. Richmond will be trying hard to thwart any of these quick attacks that Beeston have been springing on them this half. That was sort of close.
Trying to pull my headset off today. I don't know.
Apologies, Andy. Chaos in the chapel.
Close to a turnover. Gerrits assesses, decides to go to the left-hand side of the circle. Good takedown, but gone the favour of Beeston.
Yes, yeah.
And that was a close thing, I think.
Players are getting used to this idea of letting the receiver get it, so there's no chance of a corner being given away or anything worse. But that one wasn't controlled by Richmond's forward. Where's that
Stroke
gone?
forward towards the left-hand side of the circle. Support coming from George Fletcher, and just held up on the tee of the circle. And whistle blows, Richmond will clear.
Yeah, a few more D entries for Beeston in this third quarter.
Conditions have got very, very sunny, very suddenly, so it may be a new challenge for the players who've played this game over extremely varying conditions over the course of 8 days.
Yeah, much better battling now from Beeston. There seemed to be a little bit an ingredient missing in the first half of their play, and some of that was down to work rate and intent, and they seem to put that back in now.
The sun is
bright, isn't it?
As the ball makes its way into the circle and all the way through the other side by the looks of it.
Yeah, acknowledging a good cross there, but not able to get on the end of it. George Fletcher there in the middle of the top of the D.
Just letting you into a few of the broadcasting secrets here. We're watching the game mostly on a screen in front of us, and I've got a great big rhombus of light, which is really, really distracting.
It's difficult
to work out the source of this light.
Yeah, so again, there's a nice use of an aerial as a pass, giving Richmond possession. Beeston's 23-metre area, smashed into the D.
But that was better from Beeston's defence. They anticipated the ball, and that's good shielding.
Lovely turn, lovely skillful turn there.
We've
engineered
a solution, by the way, which may fail. I have a feeling it may fail.
Ali Richmond has gone all the way through here, so unfortunately his cross, he's gone through around about 3 or 4 players there, and but his cross was easily picked off, so that was a shame really. A lot of work went into that. I think it's quite important from Beeston's perspective now that they get a few more outcomes from this pressure. particularly in the form of penalty corners, if not shots on target.
Strong words from Andy Higgins, I think, for that. I think 15 white, which would be Jack Cleaver. I'm not entirely sure the reason, but that was...
No, he was definitely shouting at him. So again, Richmond having to try to get hold of this ball and then work it out of this, their bottom left-hand corner. They've done that well. Quite noisy on the pitch today, and there's a lot of shouting going on.
Yeah, very much so. Good communication, I think.
Yes. That's floated into space.
A long, long way. Owen Barnes with a headband plays it forward.
Oh.
This time, it's the second half that Richmond things aren't starting connecting
so well. Yeah, that's... Maybe it's just playing in that direction. So Beeston playing towards the car park end, which is the end where the balcony is full of fans. So
the home support is mostly gathered down this end. So maybe they can hear the encouragement. Because when this place gets going, it's loud.
It can be noisy. It can be very partisan and noisy. A little bit stagnant over there. What's going on? There we go.
We've seen quite a few occasions in this match where two balls or multiple balls have been on the pitch at the same time. It's great to have a keen ball patrol, but sometimes...
Where's that gone? That was just...
A Peel penalty corner.
Yes, penalty corner, yeah. Well, a lovely cross. It wasn't properly controlled, but I think it's found a foot.
Well, we'll find out for sure as the replay.
Very slow restart there. I don't quite know what was going on with Robbie Gleeson, but found a bit of space to get the cross in, and it's powerful.
He did very well.
That's where it hit the foot, I think.
Right on the edge of the circle.
Yes.
I think that player who we just saw turning was it wasn't the first touch, it was the second Richmond player that was interacting that had the contact.
Well, this is an important moment, just looking at the time in the game. Penalty corner for Beeston, important for Richmond. They need to make sure that they get their number one runner out, see if they can stop that direct flick. Jamie Rawlins is there. Probably be the favourite for this, off the first of the two Castles. Castles being the way you'll see the trappers squatting down. They're ready to trap the ball, and the two guys behind are usually the flickers.
Robbie Gleeson will be the player injecting. I'm looking over at Zavex Cordero, who's on the left-hand side of the circle, and that is in for two. Beeston have turned it around.
Well, at the times that they turn to Jamie Rawlins, and he has got better and better at this. He's it's not all power. It's accurate and well thought out. He's found the keeper's left-hand side. The postman not able to stop that going in.
Here's the replay. Talk us through it.
There it is. Good trap, and he's found that gap without giving too much height on it, through past the keeper's left foot and through the legs of the guy who's defending the post.
And we're watching the live action as Richmond into the circle.
He's trying to get
Owen Barnes, who's trying to make things happen, and it has the ball stripped off him.
Yeah, Richmond straight away getting on the front foot again. I think it's that situation where they absolutely 2-1 down. There's nothing to lose. They've got to attack to try and get back into this. So Beeston will have to be alert to that as well. Good use of the high left forward, and that has been found in the D.
Ball popping up caught neatly in the air. I must say as well, Jamie Rawlings, who was on the score sheet for the game that was cancelled a week ago, 26-minute penalty corner for him. That was the opening goal of the game.
Yes.
Last week, so it took the 26th minute for Beeston to score, and then the second goal coming in the 32nd minute, with the third one coming at some point from Henry Croft, I think the 50th.
Yeah,
so it was later goal scoring.
It was. Beeston having the opportunity then to just offload the pressure a bit, but the ball passed out to the right half, and it was missed. That'll be Richmond's ball.
Slipping it back to Macon having to go all the way back. It's like watching a different game now.
Still that work rate from Richmond. Can't fault their effort and their intensity. They're still dangerous if they get anywhere near that D, and particularly if they can win a penalty corner.
I suspect there'll be ironic cheers in around about 4 minutes' time when we cross over into the fourth quarter, but we still need to get there.
It is interesting watching Robbie Gleeson when he gets restarts. A lot of people just think because there's a restart and you can self-pass the ball to yourself, just get on with it. But Robbie sometimes takes his time.
Stamp does well to get the ball into the
where's
circle.
that gone?
Play still live, clipped little sand wedge towards goal from Will Prentice.
Yes. It seemed sort of a bit half-hearted, that didn't it? Really, it was a little, like you said, little chip. Who's going to give that to? Who's going to give that to Beeston?
Will Prentice again, who's in the thick of it in this spell of play.
Very skillful player, Will, and on the days when he's on his game, can be very dangerous and good to watch.
The flags fluttering in the breeze. Ben Collinson in possession.
Yeah, he's had another solid game today. I thought he played well last week, and he's not made many mistakes. He's always available, concentrating.
I think Zavax Cordero has been used very sparingly.
Yes, yeah, they'll be. I think they'll be keen to get him through a few training sessions and introduce him slowly into the setup.
Is there a qualifying nature to fielding him? Because he's now appeared, then that's him locked in for Beeston's first team.
It is, although because I think he played with the twos yesterday, I wouldn't be surprised if he had another couple of twos games before they use him. He'll be training with the ones on Thursday nights, Tuesdays and Thursdays.
5 metres outside the circle. Into the circle this time. That's a big challenge, and Beeston appealing. I didn't think there was anything wrong with it, and neither did the umpires.
Henry Croft has hurt himself there as he's gone down for that ball. Something's caused him grief, and it's always worrying when that happens because he's had knee trouble before.
We couldn't want for a better view of Croft, and we do get the opportunity to have a replay of that. So what happened here?
I do hope that that's not he's not fallen on his painfully on his knee. Something's happened there.
Yep, he did slide onto his knee, and then immediately he's holding onto it. I have a feeling, at the very least, that's his game done. We can actually hear out of the window because it's very near to us.
He's up and he's moving, so there's life in him. He lives.
It was a very worrying moment, I'm sure, for him as well as everyone else watching, because at the moment it's Henry Croft who seems to be carrying the torch for Beeston on the field, and with him out of the game and the game still in the balance. That would have been a transformative effect on the game. However, he's up. We can see in the picture that he's certainly standing. Whether he's moving effectively, we'll tell in a moment. We'll keep an eye on it out the window. He's just jogging backwards out of camera shot at the moment.
Well, 2-1 is a slender lead, and there is a lot of time left in the game. Sides at this level, they'll never quit trying to get a win out of games, whatever the scoreline. Well, as long as the scoreline is close enough, but they'll keep fighting for that. So Beeston need to be very careful. They won't want to give away possession in the D or penalty corners.
Points on the board are always welcome, but 3 points, it seems a bit silly to say, but you'd want 3 points over one. One's good, three's best.
Yeah. Good use of the aerial. That's, I think that's gone a long way. Oh, that's
a lost ball. Griffiths is fighting for it, and that is the end of the
time.
third quarter. This is exactly where we got to 8 days ago, and similarly, it's Beeston that have the lead over Richmond, but they've worked hard to come from that opening goal down. Scott Wall with a penalty corner, Henry Croft hammering an equaliser home on 37, Jamie Rawlings with a penalty corner on 48, and that is the way things are at three-quarter time. We do have some news for you in the world of hockey that we can talk to you about. England and Great Britain men's head coach Paul Revington has decided to step down from his role after a successful tenure which saw him take the squad to second in the world rankings and the England team to silver at the European Championships. So I've been listening to other people's opinions on this. Revington made England and Great Britain fun to watch.
Yes, yeah.
What's next for Revington and what's next for the national teams?
Well, I can't believe that he won't be picked up somewhere around the world for some post or other. He's going to be looking for that, I'm sure. He obviously felt he'd done as much as he could under the circumstances. I think it's true that Great Britain and England and Great Britain did become good to watch, exciting, attacking hockey. It didn't quite work in the Olympic Games for them, but they'll still want to keep that approach, I'm sure. It's definitely the best way to be playing the game. It'll be interesting to see who takes over. Although congratulations to Zach Jones, former Beeston coach, who in the short term is the interim coach for them.
So something to look forward to. The managerial merry-go-round continues. But
Yes.
I think it was so disappointing, that defeat to India, after knocking on the door since the 22nd minute of the match.
It was, yes.
And not finding that winning goal and then having to go out in a shootout as well.
Yes,
and I think that's deflating, and I think that's possibly, I'm speculating wildly, but I think that's possibly the reasoning for that, just because how do you pick yourself up from that point?
Yes, yeah.
Well done for everything he's done so far, and we'll see what happens next for Paul Revington. Beeston, though, will get the fourth and final quarter underway. Here comes the ironic cheer as the fourth quarter begins.
Robbie Gleeson's not quite got hold of his of the aerial pass there. Now it's interesting because in a final quarter like this, I mean the gap last week was a more comfy position for Beeston with a 3-0 lead. So there's still a lot that Richmond can get out of this, and they will not be sitting back. So the quality of the passes and the receives from Beeston players are going to be important. Which side's going to work the hardest? Richmond will be keen, very keen, not to see another Beeston goal, because when you get to sort of 3-1, it does start to become a bit of a
that hill gets harder to climb.
Cushion to get, yeah.
As Beeston's coach, would you say more of the same or slow things down?
Well, I think I always feel that if you start to suddenly become very defensive, you invite problems, and there's too far in the game, you've got to still attack, you'll still be chasing for another goal. You can't just expect to defend your way out of this position to keep those points. There's got to be more to it than that.
Still yet to see a card in the game, but there was just a long blow on the whistle from the umpiring team. And is it a chat here, or is it possibly an injury for Greg Nolan? See, number 5 is having a chat, pat on the back from Henry Croft, the scorer of the equalising goal. And not entirely sure, but it is a Richmond ball to get us going again.
Yeah, a lot of speed in one or two of these Richmond players. I mean, they're going to have to be watched. Beeston very deep, so at the moment they are adopting a defensive setup. Highest player, Will Prentice, and he's well into his own half. This is where I'd be a bit bothered, because that can be fed into the D from there, as he has done.
Good touch, though. Look at the smothering work from Richmond, making it very difficult to get out. And Imre Gerrits, I think, has been a bit unlucky there. He did get the stick onto it, but then fouled the ball.
Yeah, Robbie Gleeson very calm in that situation.
Taken down.
That's
on
very
halfway.
nicely controlled.
Nice shielding, and then look at the pace and the power. And that's played in towards Griffiths. Griffiths, though, keeps it in possession, flicks the ball up off the surface and earns his side a long corner by the looks of things. Owen Sutton. I thought that was going to be a restart, but play was continuing.
A lot of space on this right-hand side now. So this is a way into the D. This is how they scored. Henry Croft's goal was scored from a cross. Oh, that's unlucky. That's That looked like a very good retreating tackle then. Umpire didn't see it that way. Good backtracking and retreat defensive work. Still with Richmond. Just gone off the side. Yes, I think the test for Richmond now is if they can they create 3 or 4 opportunities in the D, or can they win 1 or 2 penalty corners in the remaining time? And from Beeston's point of view, they want to play the game at the other end of the pitch, to do away with the risk factor, but that means keeping the ball up there and making sure that the quality is strong. Yeah,
Scott,
Richmond working hard there.
Scott Wall, who's had a quiet spell, looking to force the issue once again. I think if we were thinking about player of the match contenders, Wall is one of them, definitely.
He is.
Let's say William Burns in the Richmond goal has had a very quiet day today.
Yes, he has, yeah. There's just been the 2 real tests and a couple of shots in the first half. His positioning looked good. But there's no stopping Henry Croft's shot, and similar with Jamie Rawlings' penalty corner. Where's that got to? This is where the possession needs to be maintained, and they've not done it. Oh, and good work.
Back into possession again, just beyond the outstretched stick of Henry Croft.
It's very important when you're feeding the ball forwards as you travel on any kind of counter-attack that the pass goes into the zone of the player, so he's the one that can adjust and keep possession. If it's passed out of his range, then very quickly the possession's gone and you have to retreat and start all over again. So these connecting passes, the quality of them, are very important. That's a strange little restart. What's happened there?
That was towed, I think, into the surface, and Croft picks it up and just taking a little step back to create the space for the onward run. There's the angle ball towards the
ball,
end.
And has that stayed with? Oh no, it's been nicely covered.
Griffiths, not Griffiths at all. That's Fletcher. I thought I saw an armband for a second.
Dangerous position this. Looking at the Beeston player on the back post there, just in case anything finds its way through the Richmond defenders. Here we go. Is that cross coming in? No.
And that's all the way through. It is Beeston that have the lead, but I do not like 2-1 as a score.
No, I agree with you. And that's a good example of when they need to look after that possession a bit better. That was far too easily given away. Because one of the other key parts of the game management in the last quarter like this is taking time out of your opponent, not allowing them to construct many quality build-ups. And again, there's another example where, from Richmond's point of view, it's very important that they made that trap. Jerry Rawlings travelled a long way for that, so I wonder where this is going to go.
Backwards it is.
Yeah, that was strange. I wouldn't have done that, I don't think.
We'll see how this possession progresses. 11 minutes to play.
Yeah, Toby Stanley there in the middle of the pitch on his own. Richmond stepping in front of Beeston's player. I can't see who that was actually.
Rawlings with the 90-degree ball in, then punched in towards the edge of the circle, popping up off a stick, and it's a free hit for Beeston. I thought that there was a player about to run on and hammer that.
Yes.
However, it is. We think it's just being placed back into position. Andy Higgins, who's closest to us, you can just see the top of his head on the camera, just directing where the restart needs to be taken from. And it is Dylan Limhon with a restart.
So again, there's still quite a bit of time in the game, still a good 10 minutes. So plenty of time for both teams. Nicely fed across the back line, just making sure that nothing's given away. It's quite easy to find one to the right hand side. That's a good connection.
And where's the
D? Good D entry.
Padded away, and is that danger?
That's
Yes,
a
it
penalty
is.
corner,
I don't think William Burns could do a great deal other than what he did.
No, I think they're arguing how that ball got up there, whether there was any reason why that should have been given the other way, but the umpire was very close to that, so I'd be surprised if he's got that wrong.
Let's focus in on the replay and how that ball did pop up, because it was taken down here. I think it popped up off the defender's stick.
Yeah, it did. It looks like that from here. But very speedy, getting into that dangerous corner in the D from the sideline was the key to creating the corner, because by doing that quickly and eliminating the left side defender, all manner of things could happen, and of course that's led to the trouble for Richmond. Jamie Rawlings is still on the pitch, so I'd imagine they've deliberately kept him on for most of the time, just in case of the corners.
Will it be Rawlings, will it be Croft, the two likeliest who are just outside the edge of the circle? Rawlings it is who goes low, and it's a routine, and the injector who was Cordero who was closest to, but it's a repeat. Wonder if we can get a replay of that. Or
yeah, the number one runner for Richmond was out very quickly. The ball was slightly ahead of Jamie Rawlings, so he was quite a bit slower onto it, but he managed to get a stick to that and find the foot for the reward. Here we go again.
Little shuffle towards the left-hand side. Looks as
Pace.
if it will be Croft who slips, and there's a repeat again.
Well, they went to the second castle this time. I would imagine that was obviously hoping that Henry Croft would be able to get one of his belters into the bottom corner, but it was not executed well. Henry reacted to that and found a foot, and third corner on the trot.
Knocking on the door, one corner and two rear wards in that series of three that we're watching. Again, a little shuffle to the left-hand side. Croft again, and that's over the fence.
Yep, the runner adjusted very well there to Henry's shot, and very bravely put himself in front of that powerhouse, so he's done very well to deflect that over the back line, high over the back line for a long corner, taking some of the pressure off.
Shade over 7 minutes left to play. I'm sure as some will be nursing a dent on their car bonnet.
And this is dangerous again. Still got the ball right on that baseline.
Another penalty corner, fourth in this quarter for Beeston.
Ali Richmond working rapidly down that back line and finding a foot. And of course the other thing with penalty corners is it takes time out of the game. You know, you're always looking at a loss of 45 seconds to a minute.
40 seconds though is the international standard.
It is.
Sometimes it takes a little bit longer, sometimes you have difficulty with your equipment.
Yeah.
Sometimes you're ready within 20, so it varies greatly.
Well, the last two corners went to the Henry Croft castle, so I reckon this will probably go to Jamie Rawlings, but we'll see.
There's a little switch there.
Switch, they've swapped sides.
It is Rawlings who goes low, and that's been saved on the line, and it's a reward. I must say credit to Burns, who was scrambling and did very well to keep the ball out.
That was a very good save indeed. It was loose, but in a narrow part of the goal, just inside the post. And but it was interesting how the two swapped positions. Henry Croft came across to the first castle, Jamie Rawlings went over to the other side.
Yeah, Cordero was on hand.
William Burns has done very well there for his team. Is this the one? It's a bit slow, that.
Rawlings low, and on the reverse it was coming a while, and that one is another high ball that has gone over the fence again. Good day for the car insurance team.
Absolutely. Toby Stanley getting his reverse stick shot off, but again, another feature of William Burns' goalkeeping is his positioning. It's been very good.
5 minutes to play. Single goal is the difference between the two sides. Rawlings looks to get the levers in, but very subtly plays the ball out to the left-hand side of the circle. Is there another corner? Is there a shot? What's the outcome here? Chance here, and that's hit the post.
Great skills from Henry Croft, and he's hit the post. Found himself a bit of space and couldn't quite tweak it back towards the or inside the post. So that's an interesting moment.
That could have been all 3 points in the bag. But Richmond still very much in the game.
Yes, they
We've not
are.
seen a great deal of them as an attacking force in this fourth quarter, but that's not to say they're out of the game because they're pressing forward. Beeston, though, form an effective block on their right-hand side of midfield. Punch the ball down towards halfway and the...
Yes, a little bit of respite for Richmond. Taking the keeper off. Richmond taking their keeper off by the looks of it. Putting the extra player on.
4 minutes to play.
Relatively early, but it shows the intent. They're going to see if they can create something with the additional player. They'll have 4 forwards up there.
And I must say it would change the flow of the game dramatically because Beeston are in a bit of a good run at the moment. So
yes,
something else to think about.
Well, the risk, of course, is if Beeston can get possession and get a counter-attack on the go, no keeper to deal with. So it's a gamble by Richmond.
Into the circle and then played behind long corner.
Yeah, if the umpire deems that ball's deliberately played off the back line, that can be given as a penalty corner, but more of a reaction stop by Ali Richmond, saw it go off the back. This is a dangerous position. When he's hit, I think he's mishit and he's hit his own player.
So Simon has want to take a little bit of time to get up, but he's okay. I thought he might have injured himself on the way down, but no, he's okay, moving around safely. We've also talked about injuries. Henry Croft does seem to have shaken off whatever that was a little while back. Cam Beeston now attacking the empty goal to the right-hand side.
Well, they've gone the possession route to outlet there. I thought for a minute that with Jamie Rawlins he might just try and throw one of his massive aerials to get it towards the other D, but that's gone away. A little bit more time drifts off the clock. Jamie Rawlins again on the ball. Where will this go? I suspected that might be the case. Big aerial. Can a Beeston player get on that? Very nicely watched.
Try and get the ball 70
And
metres
a nice
down the other
pass.
end.
Nice connecting pass.
Evans.
Good work. Good work back there.
Good hustle from Beeston, but it has been lost.
Didn't quite work out for Toby Stanley. It's given... and that's...
Unfortunate loss of the ball, which sees possession
yeah.
turned over on the side for Beeston. And professionally, it will take as long as you need to restart. Again, all fair.
Yeah, ball with Ali Richmond. And
Richmond hoping for a restart now. Comes the aerial. That's another couple of seconds.
Beautiful.
And that's a good take as well. And Ben Collinson will run it down into the corner, you fancy. Although, into the circle. Is there a foot there?
I think there was a foot. Yeah, that was... there
and
we
tapped
go.
in for
And that's the danger.
seconds.
That is the danger when you haven't got a keeper. And if things don't go according to plan in terms of possession, then there's always that easy chance for a goal. Makes the scoreline look nice for Beeston.
How the ball got through there, I'm very keen to see, because it looked like there was a foot, but play was allowed to continue. Croft took a couple of touches,
Very good
evaded
skills.
a couple of challenges, and just tipped the ball into the goal from short distance, and that very familiar celebration we've seen for a second time today.
I think a lot of people see Henry Croft as a big hitter of the ball, but if you watch sometimes his stick work, it's very good indeed. And he uses that to create his opportunities for his big hits. Long corner. We're definitely inside the last minute according to our clock, Andy.
I would say so, because also just for clarification, William Burns is not come back on. He is still off the field of play, so Richmond field, that's still worth taking, but there could be a fourth in the offing for Beeston if they can get the ball towards goal here.
That's what they're trying to do.
Griffiths is there, and surely it is a fourth. And what a finish. And with a Cole Palmer celebration.
I was going to say that's not being given because I think there was an offence there at some point during the travel with Henry Croft. So we stay at 3-1.
That is the final whistle. It is, and Terrific game. Terrific game.
Beeston were pleased to come away with that because there was a different Richmond turned up than last week. Having had the benefit of the knowledge of seeing how Beeston were playing, they gave a real creditable start to themselves and made life difficult for Beeston.
You're right, and at the final score, let's keep that information up on the screen as we talk you through the scoring sequence. Scott Wall, the penalty corner in the 9th minute. Henry Croft on 37 with a smash from about 8 or 9 metres away on a tight angle. Rawlings from the penalty corner on 48 gave Beeston the lead, turned things around, and Croft into the empty goal. Still had a lot to do though. He did
have a lot to do, and his tricky skills got him into that easy goal scoring position.
And could have had a fourth at the end as well. If we can pop up the table as it was this morning, we'll do some live maths and see what that's done for the table. So this doesn't take into account the match we've just seen. Richmond would move on to -10 on goal difference, which would put them into 11th place in the table. Beeston move on to 4 points, and I think that would take them into 4th place. Does everyone agree on that one?
Goal difference 2 for Hampstead. Beeston's goal difference is
1 more.
Is 2.
Yeah.
So.
No, it's all square. I think on goals scored, I think that will be the tiebreaker.
Yes,
but I think
it
it's around 4th. We'll say.
Yes,
that's what we'll do. So that is the way that things tie up. We'll be back on BTV very soon indeed. I think it's next Saturday. Back,
yes.
I think. I'm not sure. I do have
Cardiff.
Cardiff next.
Week,
yes.
Yeah.
Talked to Walid Abdo from Cardiff and met last week.
Right.
Looking forward to seeing Cardiff here next time around. Well, it's been a very different performance from what we saw 8 days ago, but the outcome is more or less the same. 3 goals for Beeston, and I must say, Richmond, congratulations on your first goal in the division.
Definitely, yeah.
And I think there's more to come from this side, but today wasn't the day. Mus, who was your player of the match?
Well, I thought that from Beeston's point of view, the Henry Croft skills to get the goals, but William Burns in goal for Richmond I thought was very good indeed. But in the first half, Scott Wall I thought had an excellent game. That just drifted off a little bit in the second half.
Indeed, he was absolutely everywhere, but you're right, he did disappear in the second half. Both teams had a very, very busy weekend. It's been a very busy weekend for BTV. We will be back next time from Andy Day and the rest of us in the chapel, upstairs and downstairs.